Brexit, or Britain's decision to leave the EU, is vindicated when the way the UK rushed into Europe is considered, a leading academic explained to Express. Critics of Brussels following the EU-UK coronavirus crisis have cited the event as an example of why Britain is better outside the bloc. It came as the outfit was too slow to pass through legislation that would enable the mass rolling out of its vaccine program. Many countries have as a result been left without the jabs that should mark the beginning of the end of the pandemic. This was while the UK soared ahead, having administered almost 13 million people with their first jab of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine to date. The pharmaceutical company has production facilities in Belgium and the Netherlands, with millions of doses leaving the continent for Britain, much to the dismay of European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen. After briefly threatening the UK's vaccine supplies and triggering Article 16 of the Brexit deal, effectively erecting a hard border on the island of Ireland, Ms. von der Leyen backtracked and reversed the decisions. Many noted it was too late, however, with polls now showing how even ardent Remainers were disappointed with the EU's actions, and the World Health Organization's Director General, Tedros Adhanom, warned the bloc against vaccine nationalism. The bureaucratic nature of the EU means that its mass vaccination program is still far behind where it should be. Robert Toombs, the renowned British historian, told Express.co.uk that the UK initially joined what was then the European Economic Community (EEC) in order to keep up with the post-World War II consensus, not expecting to find a Brussels parliament that was a facade essentially governed by a civil service. He went as far to argue that Britain rushed into Europe, a move that was too hasty and almost inevitably fermented an unstable future relationship between the two. Professor Toombs said, "People don't ask if the UK rushed into Europe often, and I think the UK did rush into it. You could say Britain was hanging around for several years after the European Coal and Steel Community was created. But nevertheless, there was a desire to get into the EEC later on which retrospectively seems too hasty. We weren't under such pressure as people of the time thought. If we'd been willing to take our time over it, and maybe sign a deal with the European Free Trade Association (EFTA), which we were a founder member, then we'd probably have had a better and more stable relationship with the EEC." Many politicians and civil servants at the time felt under pressure because they thought Britain was in decline and that this was going to save the country. In hindsight, it clearly wasn't.